Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. The gates of hell will open. Where does that come from? I just got done watching a presser with Netanyahu and Marco Rubio, and they've had extensive talks, and that's what Netanyahu said. He thanked America for its great friendship and support. Rubio returned that and said, "We are your greatest ally, and you will continue to have our support." And Netanyahu said, "If if if these hostages don't get back, the gates of hell will open." Well, I doubt that they're going to get the hostages back. They're not going to get them back in the shape that they want them. So are the gates of hell really going to open? There's a realignment occurring in the world, and it's occurring as a result of a new strength in American leadership. You can trace all of the problems that we're having right now, to be honest, back to well, internally you can trace them way back, but externally you can trace them back to Jimmy Carter. And now there were reasons that it came out of. I'm not going to get into that, but the Panama Canal, with him giving that back, and also allowing Iran to the Shah to fall, uh, and we are reaping the benefits. We are reaping the whirlwind of those decisions that came out of his weakness. A lot of people will say, and I heard Trump say the other day that Jimmy Carter was a good man. I'll leave that up for debate. Um, he was a weak man, and he was a very stupid man. He didn't understand how things in the world worked. He misunderstood the Christian meaning of meekness. He didn't. Well, I'll stop right there. But we are all the situations that we're in right now is as a result of the weakening of America that began with his decisions. We've also had, if you saw Vance's speech to the European leaders, he explained that there is a realignment occurring, that America is taking back its proper role, its role of strength. We're happy to help, but we're not going to be made a fool of. We're not going to be taken advantage of. And pretty much every president uh, since Carter has spent the American taxpayers' money buying friendship, trying to buy the friendship of many countries who hate us around the world, and even those who didn't hate us came to despise us because of our weakness, and they took us for a sucker. The one exception being Reagan, but Reagan didn't have. First off, he didn't have the backing through the Congress that Trump should have, and he was a nice guy, to be honest. Reagan was a nice guy. Trump is not always a nice guy. He's a kick-ass and get it done kind of guy, and he loves America. And I know there are a lot of people out there that dispute that. That's fine. You don't know much about him, uh, and I've talked about that before. You don't know his history. You've just chosen uh, to 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 think badly of him. But he is a guy that that loves America, and wants to see us retake our proper place in the world. Uh, in the world. So, those of you who read, I hope this happens. Here's the thing: this has to be. I hope the figurative gates of hell do open, uh, because it's the only thing that's going to take care of the many problems in the world. If those of you who have read my first book, The Reversion, you know what happened after they liberated the school where all the people had been held in captivity um, by the gang, and Jim said to Christian, "It's not enough that we punish these people who did it. We're gonna hang them, but we're gonna have to do it in such a way that the story will be told and even grow over time to dissuade others from trying the same thing. When I was still on the street in uniform, and occasionally I'd be tasked with training a new guy, and I didn't like that. But they didn't send many new guys down to me because I worked a ghetto district, but I would explain to them. I said, don't ever let anybody swing on you without responding in such a way that they will never, ever even think about swinging on you again. And your reputation will get out, and you'll have a lot fewer tussles than if you just try to stay, you know. I remember I told a superior one time that I did a superior only in rank, not but that I was not necessarily a proponent of the force continuum, and some of you know what that means. Because what that means is you've got to gradually increase your force to just slightly overcome the force being applied to you. And when you're dealing with a hotbed criminal on the street, some of them are pretty tough, and you just try to do the minimum, you know, to keep it under control. Well, you have a situation on your hand, as opposed to when the first bit of resistance occurs. I always took it up several notches and brought it to a quick conclusion. And fewer people get hurt that way. I didn't get hurt. They didn't get hurt as much as they might have otherwise. That's what needs to be done in the world. We need to take care of this once and for all. We need to take out Iran. Well, first off, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. And we need to do it in such a way that anybody who supports them or has supported them or thinks about supporting something like that will go, oh, my man, I don't think I want to bring that on me. Look at the silliness that we were involved in the GWAT. You know, we could have had, you know, Osama bin Laden. They had him and they let him go. I know some of you go, what? Nah, that couldn't have been. They did. So why? Well, it was an excuse for us to go over there and for a lot of people to make a lot of money while putting our young men and you know, women through the meat grinder, and this has to stop. We have to respond in such a way that that the fear that they have of us is greater than the hate that they have for us. You know, that's the thing. People, if people hate you, there's not a lot you can do. You can't, especially in these kinds of situations. If they hate you for religious reasons, for whatever, you're not going to buy them off. I don't care all this hearts and minds stuff and all this kind of stuff. No, you're not going to win them over by sending them some wheat, you know, or some medical supplies, things like that. In their eyes, they see that as foolish, and they take us for a fool. They hate us, okay, accept it, and we have to respond in such a way that their fear of us far exceeds their hatred for us. And guess what? Things will settle down. The what's coming right now. And I know I want to say a couple of things. First, I'll tell you in a minute how I'm preparing for this, because there's going to be a great realignment. And I'll say this right now. We get a lot of stuff, or we shop at Aldi. Okay, Aldi brings a lot of stuff from Europe. It's higher quality than what's made here, to be honest. The food stuff, because they have much stricter rules on the processing of food in Europe than we do here. I think the lunch meat that I buy, you know, the Spam, made in Denmark. The chocolate that we buy is made in, I don't know, is it Poland or Germany or something like that? Very high quality stuff. Those kinds of things I'm going to stock up more on, because whether it's tariffs, whether it's interruption of delivery, you know, whatever, I think the prices could go up, and shortages could hit us, you know, depending on which reason for it. So anything that, because there is a realignment, uh, anything that comes from overseas or Mexico or anything like that that you regularly use, um, I would suggest you stock up on it. And we're going to come out of this if Trump does what I hope he will do, what I think he's going to do, what I know he can do. We're going to come out much better in the long run than we are now. It's going to be a more stable world. It's going to be a safer world. Right now, it's fairly dangerous to be an American abroad, and that's a result of the weakness that we've shown for years and years and years. But it's probably going to get back to the opposite of that, to where they know what they need to understand is that if they take an American hostage or they kill an American, uh, the wrath of America is going to come down on them. That makes it safe. That's what makes things safe. Yeah, I know it would be nice if love and flowers and all this kind of stuff made the world a wonderful place, and it would if everybody did that, but it's not going to happen. And what keeps you safe is other people's fear of you. If I mean, except for those who just do it because they're nice people. I always tell people do the right thing for one of two reasons, and only one of two reasons. Either that's just the way they are and they're nice and they want to do what's right, or they're afraid not to. Okay, they're afraid of the consequences of not being nice. Simple as that. It's no more complicated than that. I know that there are people, and I want to also address something else here. There are people who are putting this whole situation in Israel and all that in a biblical context. Uh, I don't believe that it is, and I believe that that's a mistake. This is a political situation right now. Uh, there are many who try to come on and try to scare that this is the end times. Well, we are in the end times. I've talked about that before. We have no idea whether the end times are the coming week or the next 10,000 years. And there have been preachers and other people and so-called prophets and watchmen and things like that. They've made a lot of money over the years, over the decades, over the centuries of trying to scare people that the end is nigh, and these are the end times, and we're just waiting for the apocalypse. Um, don't fall for that. These people are just trying to scare you. Anybody with a real understanding of eschatology or the study of the end times biblically knows that the signs are not here. If you're going to go along with the signs of the biblical signs, the signs are simply not here. Okay? Those who want to tell you that they are because, all the evil around and all the badness and all of this and the people and the armies encircling Israel and all that, well, they don't know. They apparently, they don't know their history. And because things are no more evil now than they ever have been. And if you want to see some real evil, go way back. Go all through history. There's always been this. We know about it more now because of, the 24-hour news cycle and video and film and all. We see all these things, and people who lead fairly normal lives go, oh my gosh, that's horrible. It's never been this bad. Yes, it has. It has been this bad. It has been worse. Okay. I wrote about Nero's torches in one of my books. For those of you who have read it, for those of you who haven't, the Emperor Nero used to light his garden parties by tying Christians up to poles and slathering them with pitch and lighting them on fire. Okay, so no, things are not more evil now than they ever have been. And be careful of listening to these people who are always about trying to tell you that these are the end of days. I tell you one thing that'll give it away also, and of course they get a lot of their information out of Revelation, and that's one thing. If somebody calls it Revelations, they don't know what they're talking about. They've heard it from a bunch of fundamentalist preachers, and who are trying to scare people, into following them and putting their money in the collection plate. And it's not that I don't believe in the end times. I believe everything that the Bible says. But the thing is, everything that it says, and you have to know what it says. Okay, and these other people are picking and choosing. They're taking the scary stuff because people respond to that, and they're going, "Oh my gosh, it's the end! It's the end!" And follow me, and you know. Uh, well, the proper name of the book is Revelation, not Revelations. Okay, and that may seem like a small thing, but it is one of the first things that shows you the person doesn't really know what they're talking about. And if you want to get more proper, it's the revelation. And it puts several ways the revelation of Jesus Christ to Saint John. Okay, so these are these are times to pay attention to. They are not times to be afraid of, but they are times to prepare for. And like I say, right now we're in a realignment of the world politically. We don't know what the good Lord has planned for us, but we do know He's told us one thing. Well, He told us a lot of things, but let me leave you with this. Many times, also, these ones who are trying to scare you will say, separate from the world and all that. Jesus never said that. He never said that. As a matter of fact, it's the total opposite of what Jesus told us to do. He didn't tell us to run off, separate ourselves from the society at large. Now, He told us not to be a part of what's going on, but He told us to stay in the world, to have an effect on it, to be salt and light. And so, if you have people trying, telling you, I don't care, whether it's to whatever it is, that's against that, they're operating out of fear and not out of responsibility. And I've said this in preparedness. And preparedness is something that needs to be done out of responsibility, not fear. And the same goes with what's going on in the world politically. If you separate yourself from it and you don't try to participate and have an effect on it, you are not, first off, whatever you choose to do in an earthly way, but if you're a follower of Christ, you're not doing what He said. Did he tell after his, and I'll tag this on here because I keep thinking because one thing leads to another, right? No. When He was in the last night and when He was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, did He tell His disciples, okay, now I'm going to be arrested, I'm going to be crucified, y'all go off and hide in the woods, in the mountains? No. He said, not only did He say, he said, he who does not have a sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. And then He said, go out into the world and spread the word. Okay. This is the message and the responsibility to all believers. Do something. Stop being afraid. Stop running away. Stop hiding. Understand the world for what it is and try to have a positive effect on it like you're supposed to. Okay? And then just kind of prepare and pay attention to what's going on in the world. Don't be afraid of it. Pay attention to what's going on in the world and prepare. All right. You all have a good day. Kelly and I are headed up to Iowa for some business, and it's a beautiful day. I hope that you all have a beautiful day, but remember what I said. Don't be afraid of this stuff. Pay attention to it. We're in for a realignment, and position yourself so that you're going to go through it well and come out strong, okay? All right. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I will talk to you later.